Hello and welcome to the Patriot on television Nigerian. Patriotism is the love of one's country. Welcome to the Patriot, a platform where we discuss trending issues of national importance, making headlines in the news, to protect the sovereignty and love of our great nation, Nigeria. Welcome on board. I am Peggy Shandy.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country. So goes the opening lines of the 6-line National Pledge of Nigeria. Today, not a few, whether young or old, merely recite the National Pledge as a matter of routine or tradition, with their hearts being poles apart from the very spirit, creed, and essence of the pledge. Many simply do not understand its purport or feel the import of it, while many others choose to observe the pledge in breach only. Today we have decided to walk on the footpath of the very words of the National Pledge, keeping its vision and essence in our hearts, in our souls, and in our minds.
I pledge
Nigeria,
my country,
to be faithful,
loyal, and honest,
to serve Nigeria with all my strength,
to defend her unity,
and uphold her honor and glory.
So help me God. Nigeria, no doubt, will truly be the giant of Africa, developed and well rated in all indices, if her national pledge is treated with sacred obedience. It's on us, it's our duty and responsibility to make this country a better place. Let's live the pledge.
Democracy, they say, is the government of the people, by the people and for the people. Since 2000, Nigeria has been celebrating May 29th as Democracy Day. With the election of President Olusegun Obasanjo as president, May 29th, 1999 was the second time in Nigeria that an elected civilian administration was restored to power. The first time this happened was on October 21st, 1979. In June 2018, President Buhari announced that Democracy Day would move to June 12th. Today, that has just happened. We will introduce our guests just right after this break.
Hello, Nigerians. The 2020 celebration of Democracy Day marks 21 years of uninterrupted civil administration in our dear country. This day provides us an opportunity to reflect on our journey as a nation, our achievements and struggles. It is a day to honor our founding fathers who toiled to establish our republic and every Nigerian who has worked tirelessly to sustain it. In order to stabilize the economy, the monetary authority took steps to build the external reserves, which resulted in improved liquidity in the foreign exchange market. The external reserves grew from 33.42 billion United States dollars on April 29, 2020, to about 36 billion United States dollars in May 2020, which is enough to finance 7 months of import commitments. Agriculture remains the key to our economic diversification strategy. The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative Program continues to deliver significant quantities of affordable and high-quality fertilizers to our farmers. This initiative has also revived 31 blending plants and created a significant number of direct and indirect jobs across the value chain. Government is also revamping the cotton, textile, and garment sector via a CBN Textile Revival Intervention Fund that will considerably reduce foreign exchange spent on cotton and other textile imports. We are executing some critical projects through the transmission, rehabilitation, and expansion program, including the Aloaji to Onisha, Delta Power Station to Benin, and Kaduna to Kano. B, 330 kV DC 62-kilometer line between Birnin Kebbi and Kamba. C, Lagos-Ogun Transmission Infrastructure Project. D, Abuja Transmission Ring Scheme. And E, Northern Corridor Transmission Project. Our agreement with Siemens will transmit and distribute a total of 11,000 megawatts by 2023 to serve our electricity needs. On transportation, another critical sector to improving our economic competitiveness, we are growing the stock and quality of our road, rail, air, and water transport infrastructure. Through the Sukuk-funded road projects, a total of 412 kilometers of the targeted 643 kilometers road projects have been completed, representing 64%. I implore state and local governments to revamp their intelligence assets so that the security agencies can nip in the bud any planned attacks in remote rural areas. I send my heartfelt condolences to all the relatives and the communities affected. As part of the strengthening of our
Thanks for staying tuned. This is the Patriot on Television Nigerian, and our guest is Barrister Madaki Ame, a legal professional in oil and gas, worked with Shell Petroleum, and a consistent public affairs analyst. We also have Dr. Jerome Adojo Agi, PhD, a financial expert and practicing politician. Welcome both to the Patriot.
Thank you very much. Happy Democracy Day.
Thank you very much. Today, our focus on this episode of the Patriot is on Nigeria's 21 years of democracy. I'd like to welcome all of you to the Patriot on Television Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
We're going straight to the point. It's already 21 years since 1999. 4 presidents down the line. Where is the Nigeria's democracy right now? I want to begin with Dr. Jerome.
Good afternoon, Nigerians, and happy Democracy Day. Democracy has come 21 years steadily since 1999, when the new democracy line took over up to now. And we have 4 presidents, like you rightly said. And so far, positively, let's say, so good. But then, can Nigerians really, or have Nigerians really be able to clearly distinguish the benefits from the military era and the democratic system of government that we have entered for the past 21 years? It's relative. And we can see that the same ills that happened in those military era are still occurring even in the democratic system of government for these 21 years. Is it corruption? It has gone to different level again. And in this time around, it's a sorry state. In fact, it has become a thing that has eaten deep into the system, such that even if somebody claims he's not going to corrupt, comes in, sooner or later I'll see him dancing to the tune of corruption in a different language than the previous. Is it in infrastructure? The decay is much. No much improvement we can see, because we are still using or still referring to the ones that were done from the military era. And it's expected that democracy, which is a government for the people, by the people, also to help the people and to be the people's own. We're not feeling anything. The roads are very deplorable still yet. The agriculture, which has been the first and major sustenance of Nigeria as a nation in the past before the oil boom, is still in the air, is still trampled down. And this is a very lucrative, untapped area. Big time revenue is dead and buried in our agricultural system. Is it the mineral, the solid minerals that we have abundantly everywhere that is untapped? And to worsen it, all powers concerning mining rights are domiciled to the federal government. So state governments even having them, like Ogun State, for example, having up to 32, Nassau having up to 28, so minerals cannot have total right over it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gerald. Thank you very much for that beautiful exposition. I'd like to come to Barrister Majike, please. 21 years, 4 presidents down the lane. What exactly do you have to say? Where is our democracy headed?
Well, what I can say, and thank you very much, Peggy, it's always a pleasure. Dr. Agi has set the scene properly, and he's said all the right things. You know, but the perspective that I like to bring into it that's a bit different is that, you know, we are actually practicing civilian rule, but not democracy. You know, and there's a difference. You know, people who are no longer in active military service are the ones in government, but we are not practicing democracy. Because democracy comes with a lot of things that are taken for granted. Free elections, fair elections, peaceful elections, where the will of the people actually translates to those who govern them through an electoral process that passes through the ballot box. But in Nigeria, what we have experienced in 1999 is that, you know, the different governments have been an imposition. The level of rigging, the level of quackery, the level of manipulation of political party primaries, where candidates who have no imposed on the people, and they are the ones who get into office. You know, it's such a joke. Such that, you know, if, you know, rather than our democracy improving, we discover that with every election, people lose more and more faith in the process. You know, less people go to the polling units to vote. You know, so if you have 80 million or 90 million registered voters and only 30 million of them go to the polls to vote, that means it's a joke. You know, and consistently, that's about the level of voter turnout that we have experienced, you know, all of this while. So why are people not interested in this so-called democratic process? And what can we do to improve it, to make it inclusive, to ensure that votes not only count, but they are counted? Because the way we are right now, you know, you just go, people, those who choose to go to the polling units go, and then they cast their votes, hopefully, if the bandits or those who shoot or, you know, drop, you know, bombs on people who are trying to vote, you know, don't disrupt the process. You know, just like, you know, we witnessed in some of the recent elections in the state, for instance, in Kogi, was a battlefield. You get the point. Elections do not need to be a battle. But we have witnessed elections that have been a battle. Every time Nigeria is going into an electoral cycle, everybody holds their breath. You know, doomsday prophecies come up about how the country might just, you know, end because of the election. These kind of primitive elections have ended now in most other clients that we know. So, yes, we have civilians in power now, but again, even in the 21 years, you know, if you add the number of years that people who have actually been active military men have governed. You know, Obasanjo governed for 8 years, and he was a retired general. And then Buhari is here now, it's going to be another 8 years. So by the time you add their 2 8 years, that's 16 years of another militarized democracy. You know, so at the end of the day, yes, when are we going to have a space where the actual civilians will be running the affairs of this country and run it well? So those are the kind of hard questions you should be asking ourselves at 21. Any child at 21 has reached the age of majority and the age of contracting. You know, that's what is recognized worldwide as the age of maturity. So if we thought that we were having a nascent democracy, as they used to call it, meaning the democracy is still like evolving, at 21 now we're no longer evolving. We want to see a credible election in 2023. No excuse. If Buhari does nothing else, when he's leaving in 2023, he must ensure that we have a credible election. If I were in his shoes, I would put a freeze on all of those long promises he made in his speech this morning that most people didn't listen to, and then focus on how he would deliver a proper election.
It's okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. Barrister Madaki, you are very explosive. I thank you very much for that. But you did mention the fact that the democratic system that we are in now, elections are not supposed to be war. It's not supposed to be war. And you referred to the Kogi state. I want Dr. Jerome to please respond to that aspect. We heard that Kogi state was at war. Can you just throw a little bit more light to that?
Thank you so much. You know, unfortunately, that is my state, and it has been on the news for bad things. And the election, being isolated as it was to us, I mean, all eyes of the world and Nigerians were just there. And it was very embarrassing and very shameful thing that what went on, and at the end, the result that came out of it is shameful. You can imagine a situation that a helicopter will be brought in to go about throwing bombs and gadgets upon people and threatening people. Talks were at the loose, being escorted even by policemen to carry out their nefarious activities against people. There's a case of this woman in Oshadamu that was killed, a former councillor.
As a result of
yes. In fact, her mother was crazy in such a way that it was the following day after the election. That was a Sunday. They came to kill her. They simply because they felt she was too powerful for them to allow their party win.
Which party are we talking about?
She's in the PDP. And these are the APC people, even though they tried to say it was a robbery, it was, but nothing was stolen. You understand? But it was a known thing that was a political assassination. And you see, and that has been on. People have carried that even up to the United Nations to cry for justice for that case. Then you can imagine, after the election, just like you said, results were like written, especially from the central. You can imagine a place that election has a pattern. And we have in democracy for 21 years, we just say, how can a local government have, for instance, like Okene local government, produce 112,000 votes for APC, then for PDP, you have 392 votes, meaning that members of PDP in that local government should naturally be in thousands. So that means they didn't even vote, they all voted for APC.
Okay, it's all right. Okay, thank you very much.
So those are the violence that happened and so many deaths.
You talked about the helicopter coming down.
Yes.
And then one lady just burnt to death and stuff.
Not by the helicopter.
Not by the helicopter?
No, the helicopter was in Lokoja axis, but throwing bombs around there. So many people don't
But you were not.
This one was in Oshada.
That's all right, okay. You're not a young man. You must have been quite an adult enough to know. Has any elections that you have ever witnessed had a helicopter flying?
There's none. We've never.
So what was different about this one?
That is what we don't know. That, like I mentioned to you, it's embarrassing.
I'll come back to you on that. I'll come back to you on that. Maybe because they wanted to protect the lives and property. That's a very wonderful. Barrister Madaki, I want to come back to you right now.
Yes, thank you.
They say charity begins at home. As he has just spoken about his own state. And so what was the situation, or rather the situation, as we celebrate Nigeria 21? You come from a state too. So tell us something about your state.
Well, Benue State, where I come from, and incidentally, we used to be in the same state before. You know, gladly they've gone to Kogi now, and then they are the majority in Kogi. You know, so Benue is slightly different. I was at home during the elections, you know, which held with the other elections. You know, the elections were largely peaceful, even though people were a bit apathetic, you know, because many of their hopes, you know, going into democracy have not been realized. You know, there were issues, a lot of issues pending at that time. You know, salaries were outstanding for long. You know, even now, salaries of pensioners have not been paid, you know, for upwards of 2 years. My father is a pensioner, he's 95 years old, he's not been paid a pension, you know, for well over 20 months now, you know. So a lot of, and this has been a recurring decimal, you know, people complain, people have issues around, you know, expectations of governance not being met with reality, you know, and, you know, a sluggish and slow pace of activity, you know, in terms of governance. But I think our biggest challenge in Benue State over the course of the last 5 years has actually been the menace of herdsmen. You know, herdsmen have decimated our state, you know, killed, maimed, raped a lot of people, you know, and, you know, of course, the whole world is, you know, witness to what we have experienced. You know, we had to bury our dead. On a certain day, we buried over 70 people, you know, and it was actually a very major national calamity. You know, I heard that a few, you know, feathers were ruffled at the federal level because of the mass burial that was organized. But again, when people die massively, they have to be buried massively. And the fact that some people may not like the press exposure the negative press exposure that comes with mass killings, you know, doesn't really mean anything. You know, we should not be hiding things like insecurity and, you know, mayhem. So much as one expects a lot from our incumbent governor, we also realize that he has been under a lot of pressure from all the other circumstances around his governance, you know, the security challenge, you know, and all that. So massively on and on, we are, you know, we are moving on, you know, and we are hoping that it can get better. Yeah. But the only challenge is that we are getting into another electoral cycle, and by the time the whistle is blown and people start bringing out posters, governance becomes, you know, take the backstage. You know, the governor becomes a sitting duck. You know, nothing happens again. And we are getting to that point, you know, where that's going to happen.
Yes. Thank you very much, Barrister. I'll begin with you now. That's a nice one. You both have explained the democratic situations, as a matter of fact, during the elections, and what's going on right now in the state. But I want us to specifically delve into if there were major gains that we moved away from the military junta, we moved away from the military kind of system of government. You know, you did mention the fact that they have retired and have decided to become politicians in the democratic system. But moving away from the military and coming down to the democratic system, have we gotten something tangible to hold on to since '99? Please, I'll begin with you.
Well, you know, democracy is a journey, not a destination. You know, and you know, a year in the life of a country is just like a day normally. You know, so most times we have to expect that there will be an evolution. You know, a good question. You know, how have we fared? Can it be better? Of course, in life it can always be better. You get the point. So, one of the major gains that I would say we have experienced is the fact that at least we carry out the ritual of going to the polls every 4 years to vote. The symbolic fact that, you know, people are given an opportunity to vote, and that a certain date is, you know, fixed for that voting, and people look forward to those dates, you know, to go and cast their vote, creates, you know, some form of feeling of fresh air, even though that feeling is always quickly dissipated. And that, you know, the positive, whatever positive aura comes with that feeling is dashed by the actual experience of the election itself. People lose their loved ones, you know, during elections. People hide. In fact, I don't even understand why there should be a curfew on election day. They say no movement during election. That's a militarized situation. If you are really practicing democracy, people should be able to move freely, go and vote and go back to their work or go back to their houses. There's nowhere in the world where movement is seized because of election. You know, in the UK, in the US, elections are usually held on work days. You are on your way to work, you stop in the polling unit, you cast your vote, and you go and continue whatever else you are doing. Why is our own election so stressful? And why also is it so expensive? We spent so much money trying to organize this sham of an election. You know, at the end of the day, they voted all these billions, you know, for and all the organizations. They are so incompetent. Most of the time, you know, they can't even get, you know, election materials to where the voting is supposed to take place. At the end of the day, you know, there are excuses, and they just keep making excuses for themselves. Why are we still where we are? You know, when the world has moved on. You know, what is wrong with electronic voting? What is wrong with using, you know, the kind of technology that we have at our disposal right now to deliver credible elections to people, you know, so that their views and their wishes get reflected through the ballot box.
Thank you very much.
So really, you know, it's good to have democracy, but quite frankly, we need to internalize democracy and make it genuine. You know, the sort of democracy we are practicing right now is not. I don't feel confident. I've not wished anybody happy democracy day today. It's democracy day, but is it happy? I don't think it is.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Barrister Mother Kiame. I call you Okalea, and I also call you Ola blah blah blah. Thank you very much for that explosive, you know, discussion here. Now, Dr. Jerome Adoji, please, can you just, in just a minute, just throw a little bit more light in your own terms, if there are actually gains since 1990?
Yeah, thank you. Since I think one of the major gains one can say confidently, just like Barrister just said, is that we have transited to a steady democratic system of governance from that time. No interruption of military or of any kind so far. That is a major gain of the democracy we are doing today. Then, secondly, we have the whole organs as allowed in the democratic system of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary to operate. In as much as we know that the other two are not totally independent, but at least they can operate, unlike in the military. It's a one military junta, just a dictatorship. That's another gain so far. Like Barrister said, there is room for improvement. That improvement, like you also said, 21 years is an age too long for the improvement we want to see in the democracy in Nigeria to happen. And then also, you can see that certain things have been introduced, like electronic voting and the smart card, whatever, for voting. These are good initiatives. But are they operating as they have to, as they should?
Yeah.
No.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. It's been wonderful having the both of you. You know, beautiful studios here to discuss politics and democracy today. You know that the president promulgated the fact that May 29th was no longer going to be the Democracy Day. It's going to be June 12th. You know, there are significance to these things. Now, just throw one light as to what significance moving it away from 29th of May to June 12th. Just 1 minute, please. I'll begin with you, sir.
Yes, okay, that's a very good question. You know, I've always questioned the idea of celebrating May 29th, because May 29th is actually a reminder of our sad military past. The military decided to hand over power to the civilians on a certain date, so what? Why should it become a national holiday and then we keep celebrating it every year and say it's Democracy Day? That's not Democracy Day. In fact, it's actually a military day, because that was the day fixed by a military head of state when he decided to hand over power to a civilian government. So, you know, it's actually anti-democratic. You know, for so long we've been celebrating May 29th as Democracy Day, and I kept wondering, why would we celebrate May 29th as Democracy Day?
So was it very wonderful?
Why would we continue to remind ourselves of the fact that, you know, we've been under military lockdown, and then suddenly they decided to remove the lockdown on a certain day, and it becomes a national holiday? You know, is that how transient, you know, it is to come up with national days? So June 12th is a good day, because that was the day we had election in this country. Even though most of the people in the world will say, you know, why would you queue up behind your candidate or the symbol of your chosen candidate? Right. But we did that option A4, queued up behind the candidate. They counted to make sure nobody can read.
Yes.
And I hope we go back to that counting. I'm telling you, if you can line up, you count 1, 2, 3, 4.
No rigging.
Then nobody can read.
Nobody rigging. Yes.
But I don't know why we are not doing it.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, Professor Helmut did a fantastic job, you know, at that time. So yes, you know, May 29th being, I hope they don't. In fact, I think we should go a bit further. They should make a constitutional amendment that enables us no longer to even hand over power on May 29. We should be handing over power on Democracy Day or on the 1st of October, as we used to do it, so that we disengage from the memory of May 29. It's not a good memory for this country.
Thank you very much, Barrister. All right, Dr. Jerome, please.
Yeah, you see, Barrister have said it. This May 29 has never been a comfortable date for majority of true Democrats in Nigeria.
That's right.
June 12th, I remember General Sani Abacha's speech when he took over. He said that June 12th has become a watershed in our democratic system of government. And that was also the same June 12th when the symbol of it, Abiola, won landslide across board. Until tomorrow, it remains the freest, the fairest, and the true election season that we've ever had in Nigeria.
That's
And
right.
the democracy of 1999 came to be also as a result of the struggle from that June 12th issue. So it means that, look at it up and down, June 12th is a true symbol of Democracy Day in Nigeria that we took over from. So that is why that movement last year by the president was very much in order.
You commended the
yes, yes, it's very wonderful. The mood is okay. That means, as we're doing today now, is the best date that symbolizes what we call true democracy. It will take us back.
Except for when Barrister, his synopsis on, handing over to another elected
president or military civilian.
No, May 20, moving away from May 29 to the June 12th or even October 1st.
No, that is for handing over. That's for handing over he's talking about. Handing over date of our president. That's what he suggested. That should be moved back also to include on the June 12th or on October 1st, like we were doing before.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That once that is also done, then they perfect it.
Yes, it will be perfected. Then we're back to our true democracy. Then
we'll come back to you. Thank you very much. We have very limited time, and we will deal with these issues.
But I want to also add to it. I will appeal that the presidency, whoever is in charge, to move further and let it become a bill passed and signed in the National Assembly, so that we won't have a problem when this government leaves and there is no bill backing it, and the parliament come and say it doesn't have any bill.
There will be a legislation.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. That's to perfect democracy day. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people is what they call democracy. A day set aside by the people to also talk to the government, because this government was produced by them. It's a creation of the people. And so I think it's very important that the presidency is taking note of these postulations, and we'll put it into practice eventually. Now we are going to have a very, very important discussion, the devolution of powers, restructuring along regional lines, true federalism given the political climate in Nigeria. What is it the right channel for this to happen? Or can it ever be a possibility that we're actually going to have devolution of powers, restructuring along regional lines? Are we actually practicing federalism, or what exactly are we practicing? I don't know. But when we return on this short break, then we'll be able to delve into that, please. All right, we're going to take a very short break right now, and when we return, we'll be dealing with the devolution of powers and others. Thank you very much. Nigeria has returned to the democratic system of government since 1999. And today is 21 years exactly. We're here to find out what Nigerians are saying.
Actually, it's a thing of joy that we have gotten to that age, Tracy. But personally, as human as I am, I'm actually not convinced that we're actually in a democracy government. Because I believe democracy, the full definition of democracy, it's government of the people. by the people, for the people. But actually what we're practicing in Nigeria is actually not democracy, because we're actually not practicing a government of the people, by the people, for the people. We're actually practicing a government of some selected people, by some selected people, for the same selected people. So it actually shocks me that we still have a date like this and the country is going this way. Actually, I have nothing, because we're growing. We're the younger one. When we actually grew youth, they were telling us we are the leaders of tomorrow, but we are growing to find out that we are actually not the leaders of tomorrow. Rather, our leaders are still the same leaders that have been leading us for so many years. So I have nothing to say. I just pray for the better Nigerian, which I'm a citizen of. And I wish them more democracy days, if only they will come to realize that we actually have a democracy in our country.
Just as everyone knows what government is for the people, and the people themselves are the government. So, but it's not everyone that has the opportunity to be in the office to rule others. Today, a Soviet democratic day, in a democratic government, the government, those in position, should be able to listen to what, and to step down to know what the masses are going off. In this environment, you could see a whole lot of stress. People moving from one place to another in the name, they want to curtail the COVID-19 that is ravaging the world. But in this part of this environment, we can see a whole lot of irregularities going on. So my message...
What kind of irregularities in specific terms, please?
Yes.
Are they extorting people?
No, not being extorting. What government, the sole aim of this lockdown, to me, has not been achieved. Because if you walk down the road, you could still see people that does not have anything to do with social distancing. And if that is one of the measures to do, it means we are not getting it right. So as we are celebrating democracy as we speak, I want the government to look into the mind and in the nature of life of people right now in Nigeria, and lift people from the level of poverty they are now to that area that we are expecting to reach.
Nigeria is celebrating 21 years today. Democracy. What do you have to say?
What I have to say is happening in our country now is not easy. Everybody is suffering, and concerning the coronavirus around. So we are wishing God Almighty should help us clear all this, because this one is getting too much. You know, there is hunger virus everywhere now. There's coronavirus, there's hunger virus. So may the Almighty Allah, we wish God Almighty Allah to help us and clear all these things, because this thing is beyond humanity. It's not easy for us to control it. So I don't know whether there is a vaccine about the virus. I'm not sure there is. So it's got anger on us. So may God Almighty help us and save us from this condition.
So happy Democracy Day.
Happy Democracy Day too.
May 29, 1999. Yeah. Till today. Well, actually, I've not seen any good thing. Government has come and gone. At least we'll have a Obasanjo regime come and gone, the Yaradua regime, the Goodluck Jonathan regime, and now the Buhari regime. But Nigerians are yet to use the dividends of democracy. Sincerely speaking, I have not seen anything good on the government. The government only knows the people in power. But the masses, those they call the common men, they are forgotten. Now look at from this place to that end, you see people suffering. Now this COVID-19, which I call it a business empire in Nigeria, or in this part of the world, it's not dealing with us. Look at everywhere is locked down. People's businesses is locked down. Now they say ease. They ease in Abuja and some other part of Nigeria, but the people are suffering. Now,
so what to do in very specific terms? You have the right to tell the government exactly what you want.
The government should be up and doing. Not you take loan, would not see anything. You apply for another loan, would not see anything. Our road is bad. The educational system, bad. Health system, bad.
So the government should give loans, the government should do infrastructure, the government should build hospitals?
No, there are policies. If the policies is friendly, everything will move smoothly. For example now,
so the Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. This is the Patriot on television, Nigerian. Just before we went for the break, we were talking about the devolution of powers. Vox populi, vox stay.
That's right.
And that's exactly what the democracy systems, is all about. You have to listen to the people too. So can we just delve a bit on this devolution? I'll give you three minutes each.
Thank you so much. See, this devolution of powers has been on for a long time now. But you must know one thing, that the democracy we are practicing now is guided on the Constitution of 1999. And we also know that this Constitution, just as Barry Sabi said, came to us from the military era. And so, if you go through the Constitution carefully, especially looking at the powers of the president or that of the governors, it's a reminder of the military junta era. So it's like they influence those powers put around the president and the governors in anticipation of them coming back in civilian form, just like Barrister also mentioned that they become military civilians or whatever they turn into this thing. And that is exactly what we are doing. If you follow the Obasanjo's government of 1999-2007, you will see how much he used those powers to do so many things that made us remember, we went back to the military era. So for it to happen, for a change, it means the Constitution needs to be reviewed. Who are to review the Constitution? Because a cry for national sovereign conference, like it has been going on for a long time, with this advent of democratic system we're practicing now, and the existence of the National Assembly legislation, it's going to be really difficult to say we want to convene that. That was quite possible easily at the military era. So it's only them that can amend some of those powers. But would they be willing to do that?
Thank you.
That is where we are.
Thank you very much.
In the logjam.
Thank you very much. Barrister.
Yes, that's a good question. Devolution of powers. We talk about devolution of powers within the concept of the restructuring that everybody talks about. We're talking about how we need to restructure, to run a leaner and a more effective government.
That's right.
I think that right now the cost of governance is excessive. The burden, if you look at the national budget every year, it's reeled out in trillions, but the actual impact of that budget on the average man on the street, those people who were interviewing earlier, they were giving their frank feedback and saying they haven't seen any dividend of democracy. They won't see dividends of democracy because, the structure of governance is top heavy and it's just too expensive. What do we need the Senate for? Quite frankly, we have a bicameral legislature. There are 360 members of the House of Reps. There are 109 members of the Senate, 3 per state. What's the point? The same thing that they discuss at the House of Reps level is what they discuss at the Senate level. None of the arms of government of the arms of the legislature is more important than the other. You get the point? Because whatever happens in one has to receive concurrence in another. Why can't we just have, like Senegal did recently, why can't we be bold enough to scrap our Senate? So that we know that the House of Reps, which has more members, then has a better spread and everybody's voice is heard.
To reduce the cost of
that reduces
so
the
that
cost.
It goes to the people that were talking on the streets.
That goes, then that when we scrap that, and honestly this is actually, people are going to see this as being revolutionary, but the truth of the matter is that we cannot afford a bicameral legislature in Nigeria because we haven't seen the value that has added in the last 21 years. You get the point? That's number one. Number two, when you talk of restructuring, yes, we need to be able to embed the 6 geopolitical zone structure in the Constitution.
Yes.
Currently, we don't have it in the Constitution. It's just still a term of art. You talk about the Northeast, the Northwest, the North Central, the Southeast, Southwest, and South-South. But we need to create a constitutional framework where these geopolitical zones are actually recognized in the constitutional document. When we do that, then we can begin to organize ourselves around those regional groupings. And of course, the one for where I come from, which is currently called the North Central, should actually, properly be renamed the Middle Belt, because I do not think that we belong to that north, and then we shouldn't be tied to the north. We should actually be called the Middle Belt because we are independent.
If we have moved away from May 29 to June 12,
yes, we
then
should
there's a possibility to move from North Central to
Middle Belt. And in fact, one very young and brilliant representative from Benue, Representative Sopo, who represents Buruku Federal Constituency. He introduced a bill last week, you know, where he, in fact, this week actually, where he actually, you know, wants the process of, you know, the geographical, the geopolitical zones to be recognized in the Constitution. And of course, he christened, you know, the North Central, the Middle Belt, which I think makes a lot of sense. Because it gives us that independence that we need to be able to show that, you know, we are a block, a power block of our own, you know, without being tied to the appendage of any of the so-called communities.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much. All right, so we will just thank you very much for these beautiful expositions. I appreciate all of you. Doctor, thank you very much. Barrister, thank you very much. Now we're going to do the last one now, and that is actually, you know, many accusing the politicians, you know, on the antics of, you know, stopping the democracy, you know, from moving forward. The major clog in the wheels of the democracy that we're practicing right now. And I want you to speak a bit of that, and then you conclude, you know, if we give the opportunity to have a democratic blueprint going forward, what exactly will you have to say? Now you come down from the blame on the politicians, why the democracy is not where it is, and then you give us the blueprint. Are you understand that? Okay. Please, I give you just 2 minutes each, so we'll round up this program. All right. Thank you very much. I'll begin with this.
Okay. You see, the politicians are to blame because uneasy lies the head that wears the crown, and everything stops on the decks of the leader, good or bad. When it's bad, they prepare to take the blame as well. That's exactly what's happening. You see, the political will expected of many politicians in leadership is eroded away, possibly by their greed to commit fraud or to be highly corrupt when they get to power. Like, I used to use an analogy to people that, for instance, if you're a governor of a state, you have the power to get your people to approve for you whatever you want as a security vote, which by constitution is not accounted for instance. Right. Now, you have let's say you have 150 million every month as approved as a security vote, and you don't do anything with it. Then as a sitting governor, there are certain perks of offices that come to you. They are more than enough to make you a rich person if you properly channel it, if on the way the constitution allows you to. But going further, not to pay salary when you have to pay, not to give development, difference of development with people, good road, water, school, and everything, and those money still be embezzled, and you keep ringing the bell. There is no money. There is no money, and you are not making anything of revenue generation. No creativity, nothing. Then that's a problem. That is why we find ourselves. That's right. Politicians are being blamed. Because they've got the political will.
But they pack all the money away too.
They pack it away. But the ones that have that political will, in a few of the states, you see them working. For example, like Ebonyi State.
That's right.
Try and take a look at their roads that the present governor has done and the things he has done.
Thank you very much.
You will superb. He's an engineer, road engineer anyway. But he went down to do it. His allocation is even less than even my own state at times. But he has done well. So when P2P was there, so is Obiano, so are other governors, a few of them who are doing something.
Thank you very much. We can go on and on and on. Yeah. Doctor, you can go on and on and on, but please allow us here because we're actually working within time limits. All right. Thank you. Barrister, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I think that going forward, we must practice a democracy where those who assume executive office should have executive capacity. Most of what we have seen, you know, in the limping democracy we have had in 21 years is the inability of the people who are in the saddle to actually know what to do. So I don't, you know, it's difficult to blame someone who lacks capacity to get things done. Because if you don't have an executive capacity, you know, there are some people who cannot start a building and complete it. You know, when they started, when it gets to lintel level, we just stagnate there. You go to many of our villages, you know, things are like that. Anybody who has that tendency should never even aspire to be the executive chairman of a local government.
That's right.
Because if you don't have the capacity to start things and finish them,
right.
then you cannot execute. You know, that's the job of the executive. Yes. And the only way we feel the impact of governance is actually through the executive. That's right. And that's why they give them only a space of 4 years, multiplied by 2. Right. We need to strengthen our local government system. They have to be decoupled completely from the state, from the hegemony of the state governors, who choke them almost to death and make it impossible for them to get anything done. Right. So I think the elections now need to start being conducted by INEC, so that at least this 100 over 100 type of scenario that we witness in every local government election stops. Right. And then then the governor should have development. Their salary should be dependent on their ability to generate revenue within their own state.
So can you wish Nigeria have a democracy?
And then we should please stop this wasteful process of gathering around the table every 30 days to share revenue. Any state that doesn't contribute to that revenue should not share.
Can you
so that when you wish
Nigerians happy democracy day?
Well, honestly, what I wish them democracy day, but I don't know whether I'm happy. That's the truth.
I wish
ourselves democracy
happy democracy day, and we look forward to get better gains. I will move forward from here.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time. We've been talking with Barrister Madaki. He is a legal professional, particularly with oil and gas. He worked with Shell Petroleum when he got a first class and was given a job with Shell Petroleum. He is also a very renowned public affairs analyst. We've also been talking to a financial expert professional, and that's Dr. Jerome Agi. Thank you very much. That's enough. That's just the much we have for you on this episode of The Patriot. Join us again on this platform. Until then, thank you very much for watching.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country. So goes the opening lines of the 6-line National Pledge of Nigeria. Today, not a few, whether young or old, merely recite the National Pledge as a matter of routine or tradition, with their hearts being poles apart from the very spirit, creed, and essence of the pledge. Many simply do not understand its purport or feel the import of it, while many others choose to observe the pledge in breach only. Today we have decided to walk on the footpath of the very words of the National Pledge.